Hey guys, how's it going? I am the Duke of Italy, your favorite lo-fi music YouTuber, and today we're going to talk a little bit about a genre I have barely touched upon, some power electronics. And this is no ordinary power electronics record we're going to talk about today, but this is Will by Hunting Lodge. Now, power electronics for me is a genre that I find a pretty tough nut to crack in a few different ways. Now, I listen to some pretty messed up music all the time, so the themes of power electronics being basically true crime, that doesn't really put me off too much. I kind of can embrace that as a point of the artistic viewpoint here, or the artistic perspective, and while that might be off-putting to some, what's really off-putting to me is song lengths. A lot of these albums out there will have albums that are over an hour long, with songs over 20 minutes long, and that's not that easy to digest, and when you see it more than once becomes kind of an issue. Now, the biggest culprit of this is Ramle's Hole in the Heart, which, while is a very gorgeous sounding record, it's one that I can't really digest as a whole. Now, what you got with Will by Hunting Lodge, you've got a combination of industrial, power electronics, and even a little bit of noise in there because it's just so messed up sounding. Now, this one, in terms of vocals, you're not going to get much until the second half of the album, but when they come in, they are utterly insane. Now, you can talk about bands like Death Pile or even Ramle for different applications of vocals, being none, or Death Pile having a lot of vocals and then being very direct and very much in your face and very much from the perspective of the Green River Killer, for example. But here with Hunting Lodge, you've got ghostly, horrendous wails that sound like they're coming from your attic. And if they're not like ghostly, horrendous wails, they're a lot more like something from The Residence, like you're blind and you're in a post-apocalyptic setting, almost like the movie The Road, if you guys have ever seen that movie. Now, this album is highly, highly atmospheric. That is the main word of the day, atmospheric, with really bizarre and upsetting atmospheres between something like a post-apocalyptic hellscape or a prehistoric hellscape in different ways. Like, this post-apocalypse almost seems like you're in a dust bowl and you're in some log cabin that shouldn't have power and hasn't had power in months due to just lack of connection to society. But you've got these dangling power lines outside your window, and you just can't help but focus on these textures, these buzzing sounds hitting, and it almost feels hostile to you. And on the other side of things, you've got tracks that have a more prehistoric and really hostile nature to them. It almost sounds like it's something tribal. Kind of reminds me of this one caveman metal band with that album Erugogu Gutting the Child. Like, it's a really messed up concept, but it sounds like primitive warfare. It sounds like you have slack-jawed, drooling early people who beat each other with clubs. And a subword for this album, rhythmic. That is one thing that power electronics does not have often, because power electronics is basically harsh noise that's like 1 degree less into the noise direction and 1 more degree of melody. Like, there are notationed textures, as I guess you can say, like textures with actual notes to them. But here, in harsh noise, obviously you don't get that, but here you have also the rhythmic component that adds that little bit more musicality, that it's just such a hostile soundscape that it still feels grating, and it's just enough rhythm to connect you, basically. And on the opening track, you've got something that is very electronic, almost EBM-like, really brings out the industrial nature of this record, even though the textures are absolutely power electronics. On top of it is absolutely hostile and unforgiving, and you've got something that is just so bizarre. Like, you can almost dance to it, almost, in a really weird way, but it's so awesome. And then later, how I mentioned this prehistoric warfare thing, you've got stuff that sounds a little bit more like normal drums, and you've got stuff that's a little bit more tangible, but it's so rhythmic and tribal that it just feels so hostile and not healthy. And this album, it'll scare you. It is highly atmospheric. No matter what you're doing, this thing will make you feel sluggish. It is like an actual weight upon your shoulders. It is so uncomfortable and not fun to listen to in a weird way, but at the same time, it's really awesome, and that's why I like it so much. And I'm out of time for today, but I hope you guys enjoy this, and I hope you guys enjoy this record, and I am out of time, so have a good day. Bye.